there, and thank you so much for joining me. Let's go ahead and get started by coming into a kneeling position. And I recommend having 2 blocks. If you don't have 2 blocks, that's fine. But if you have 2 blocks, place them on either end of your mat and go ahead and extend your right leg out in line with your left knee. If you have any knee sensitivity, it could feel good to put like a little pillow or towel or something like that under your knee. Your block will come just to the inside of your right leg, maybe around your knee or your shin. We're gonna start off by just warming up the side bodies and opening up the hips and the hamstrings and the adductors. So as you inhale, go ahead and lift up through your left arm. You can place your right hand on your right block. And just find a gentle gate pose here. Take maybe 2 more full breaths. Good. And then for your next exhalation, go ahead and place that left hand down onto the ground. Reach and extend through your right fingertips in the opposite direction. Stack your shoulders, stack your hips, draw your core muscles in, and imagine that you were between 2 panes of glass. One smooth, long line of energy. Inhale to come up. It may feel good this time to bend into your left elbow and maybe just wrap that around towards your right ear. Let your head give a little bit of extra weight to your arm and facilitate that stretch. Good. Use your next exhalation to bring the left hand down, change sides. Press firmly through the outer edge of your left foot. Really reach and extend through, your right foot. Really reach and extend through your right fingertips. Inhale to come up, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So this time it is your left leg that extends. Maybe you keep your toes so that they are running parallel to the short edge of the mat. If that's a little troublesome on your ankle, feel free to find about a 45-degree angle too. We just want to be fully grounded through your foot. Block comes to the inside of the leg. Inhale, this time reaching your right arm up, pressing your bottom hand down into the block. Just a few breaths here. Good. Use your exhalation. Take the counter pose. Try to stay light in your left arch, pressing into the outer edge of the foot instead. And maybe even lift your kneecap so that you're able to activate your quadricep in that left leg too. Make that leg very powerful. Inhale to come up. This time we're bending into the top elbow, taking that little head wrap if you like that option on the first side. Breathe into your right rib cage. And let's come down one more time. Nice way to warm up the spine and just sort of bring a little bit of movement into the body to get started. Let's inhale to come on up. You can take your blocks and just set them aside. We'll come back to them later. And we'll find ourselves in a hands and knees position. You can bring your wrists so that they're right under your shoulders. But if that is really taxing on your wrists, then just take your hands forward about a hand print. We'll bring our knees together for this version. Tuck the toes under, press the balls of the feet down into the mat. Wake up the arches of the feet. Keep pressing the balls of the feet down. And maybe start to press the balls of the feet down so much that you're able to bring some weight into your hands, lift the knees. Draw your navel up towards the ceiling, create lots of space between the shoulder blades. And hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, you got it, 4, 3, 2, 1. Find downward facing dog. You might have to spread the hands and feet a little farther apart and just find your down dog stance. Introduce a little bit of movement, maybe bending one knee, then the other, and just start to wake up the backs of the legs. Give yourself about 3 more rounds of breath here and any movement that feels good for you in downward facing dog. Good. Everyone's going to be doing something different at this point. It's just really intuitive and unique for what your body needs. And let's all take one breath to come back into our down dog towards the center of the mat and start to tiptoe your way towards the front edge of the mat. We're going to come into a forward fold with our feet hip distance apart and a big bend in the knees. Let your rib cage rest onto your thighs or your knees. Let your head hang heavily. Use your upper abdominal muscles right at the base of your ribs to help curl the upper body in. A few breaths here, pressing evenly into both feet. Distributing the weight evenly between the balls of the feet and the heels. Good. One more full breath here. Take your hands to your hips, your elbows to the ceiling. Come up with a flat back. Awesome. Great. We're going to keep working this core mobility here. So let's start off by coming towards the center of your mat. I'm going to face this way just so that I'm easier to see, but you could be at the front of your mat if you'd like. We're going to cross the left leg in front of the right. Inhale to bring, I realized I was mirroring you guys, so I should keep doing that. Bring your left leg in front of the right. Inhale to take both of your arms up overhead. Let your index fingers remain open. Squeeze your biceps into your ears. We're going to use an exhalation to tilt the entire upper body towards the left side of the mat. It's really tempting to let that left hip come forward and the right hip to go back, but really encourage your right hip forward and press evenly into both feet. Inhale to come up. Switch the cross of the legs, and this time your upper body is going to go towards the right side of the mat on an exhalation. Good. One more breath here. And we'll use our inhalation to bring the upper body upright. Release the bind of the arms and take a position that allows your feet to be about hip distance apart. You're welcome to bring your fist to your sacrum, or you can take your hands with your palms in towards your back, your fingertips up towards your shoulders. I encourage you to squeeze your shoulder blades together, squeeze your elbows together, and just start by lifting your gaze. Then maybe let your sternum lift. And just take a few breaths here. We're going to take a few passes at back bend, so this one doesn't have to be the deepest one that you have available. But focus on your breath here. Focus on lifting out of the low back, lifting the sternum towards the ceiling, and maintaining enough space so that you're able to breathe comfortably. Use an exhalation to release. Release the hands. Keep pressing evenly into all 4 corners of both of your feet as you inhale to lift your arms up. Exhale, come halfway down in your extension. Draw your navel in, draw your ribs in, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and lengthen the back of your neck so that there are no creases in the skin. Long spine. Reach and extend your fingertips forward for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, bend your knees, forward fold. If at this point in the practice you no longer want to bend your knees and you want to take your forward folds with your legs straight, please know that you can do so, but I'll cue to have the knees bent. Good. We're going to reverse our way out of that posture the same way that we came in. So start to straighten the legs. Inhale, straighten the arms, find that halfway point. Use your core engagement to support the upper body. For 3, 2, 1, inhale to come up. Awesome. Exhale, release the arms. Nice. So we're going to repeat that little variation one more time. So this time, we want to start off with the feet crossed. Make sure that my mic is not going to completely fall off. So we're starting off with the feet crossed, bringing our left leg in front. Arms are up. But this time, let's take our left arm, this is your left side, down to your hip. Like I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Sorry, I have a 2-year-old that sings that all the time. Keep inhaling to reach your right arm up. Exhale, bend the right elbow. Take that hand around towards your opposite ear and just sort of use the weight of your head and your upper body to encourage the side stretch. Try to maintain length in the left side of your body. Draw back slightly through your right shoulder. It's very tempting to let that sort of cave forward and in. Inhale to release. Go ahead and change the cross of your legs. We'll take both arms up. Exhale to release your right hand down to your hip this time. Bend into your left elbow. Take that hand across towards the opposite ear. Hinge at the hips and fold. Try to maintain length on both sides of the body. Really let the head feel heavy and soft. Inhale to come up. Exhale, release. We're going to come into our second back bend this time. So maybe you take it just a little bit deeper and see how that feels if your body is ready for it. Again, take your fist or your hands to your sacrum. Squeeze the shoulder blades and the elbows together. Root down firmly through both of your feet. Lift your kneecaps, engage your quadriceps. Create a nice little engagement of your glutes, but don't overdo it. And then just start to lift your gaze, lift your chin. That's okay, lift the sternum. And if that's still feeling okay, maybe you find a lot of length and you start to let your hips drift forward as you bend back a little bit more. Keep the length in the spine. Try not to collapse and dump into your low back. And take about 2 more deep breaths here. Maintain the steadiness of your breath. Inhale to come up. Forward fold time. Whenever you're ready to inhale again, take both arms up overhead. Squeeze your biceps towards your ears. Use the exhalation to hinge at your hips, forward fold. Find that halfway point. Press firmly into the balls of your feet, but see if you can even bring some weight back into your heels as you hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale to your forward fold. Good. Maybe if you are taking the forward fold with your knees bent, you start exploring straightening the legs just a little bit more. Good. Reverse your way out. Start to find a little bit of length in the legs. Straighten your upper body. Bring that torso as much as you can into a parallel-ish position with the floor for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale to come up. Exhale, release. Awesome work, you guys. All right, I hope your core is starting to feel a little bit warm. I hope your spine is starting to feel more open. So we're going to take ourselves into like a wide-legged squat, like a goddess position. So take your feet out so that you're significantly wider than your hips. We're going to angle the toes out about 45 degrees. Start to bend into your knees so that your knees track roughly over your center toes. You want to make sure that you could see your big toe on the inside of both of your knees. Inhale to bring your arms up. Find goddess pose. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Squeeze the elbows together. Start to lower the tailbone down towards the mat. Take just a few breaths here. Maybe you sink a little bit lower. Yeah, see about aiming to get those thighs parallel-ish to the ground. Good. Final breath. You can do it. You got this. And take an exhalation to release your hands down towards your thighs. We're going to drop the shoulders one at a time. So start to lower your left shoulder down towards the center of the mat, center of the body. Take your gaze towards the right. Maybe even take your gaze up towards the ceiling. Keep sinking low in the hips, low in your seat. Inhale to come back up. Exhale, other side. Keep using your hands to press your thighs away from the midline. And bring a lot of length into your spine. So lengthen the crown of the head away from your tailbone. Release the creases in the back of the neck. Inhale to come up and return to center. Start to heel toe your feet towards one another. Great. Shake that out. Feeling a little warm in your spine? Good. Let's take it down to the mat. Go ahead and bring your blocks with you. So we'll take both of our blocks, bring them about shoulder distance apart in the front edge of the mat. We can't really feel a ton like we've gotten into the back body without working on the shoulders too. So this is going to be nice for our shoulders. We want to take our elbows and place them on the blocks. I recommend doing it tall length for anyone who's very tall or has a long neck like me, but a lot of people also feel comfortable in the short length. So yogi's choice. We want those blocks shoulder distance apart. Elbows come down onto the blocks. Bring your hands into prayer position. From there, start to walk your knees away from your body so that you can bring your chest parallel or parallel-ish to the ground. Draw your navel in, knit your rib cage together, and start to lower your ears down between your biceps. Now, if you don't have blocks, you're placing your elbows on the floor and you're doing the exact same thing. Press the hands into one another. Squeeze the elbows in towards the midline. Let the shoulders relax down the back away from the ears. And we're going to take about 3-ish breaths here. Notice where your body is in space. Notice the parts of your back and your shoulders that might feel a little bit tight. Notice if you're tempted to just relax the belly and sink into a back bend. That's fine, but that's not quite what we're going for here. So engage the core muscles, lift the belly away from the floor. Final breath. We're going to use the next exhalation to start to walk the knees in. Lift the torso up. And come into a kneeling position with your toes tucked under. Now, I was asking you to sort of notice where your body was in space because we're going to do one more pass at that after doing some simple warm-ups with our shoulders. So with the toes tucked under, just getting a little arch stretch while we're here, we're just going to start to take very simple circles with our shoulders. Think about bringing your fingertips forward, brushing your arm along the side of your ear. Leading with your pinky first, take that arm back behind you, really squeeze the shoulder blade in. Brush the side of your hip and find that full range of motion 2 more times. Try to keep the opposite side of the body completely still. Good. Same thing, other side. Really just letting the arm brush along the body. And then reach as far away from the body as possible. Good. Now we're going to take a butterfly motion, finding our rotations internally and externally. So again, you could stay right where you are. I'm just going to turn for easier visibility. We're going to start off with those cactus arms. Use an exhalation to bring your forearms towards one another. Squeeze your elbows in. Maybe you even let your chin drop as you round your upper back. Inhale to take those shoulder blades and elbows towards one another behind you. Let yourself back bend this time as you lift and open the chest. Bring it all in. Open the chest on an inhalation. Final time here. Good. Release the hands down to the ground. Take your knees together, toes apart for kind of a hero's pose. If your body isn't ready for this right now, then just let yourself sit on a block between your heels. Otherwise, we'll come into that hero's pose. And we're gonna take a bind behind the back. Interlace your fingers, let the webbings of your fingers touch. Squeeze your shoulder blades and your elbows together towards one another. Notice if that sent your rib cage forward. If so, draw the rib cage in. Start to lengthen your fist away from your low back. Maybe you find straight, maybe you don't, doesn't matter. We just want to keep the chest open, the fronts and tops of the shoulders open. Lift the hands away from the floor if you started to straighten the arms. Start to roll out your shoulders. Good. All right, so another little shoulder opener before we do our tricep stretch again. I invite you to come into a position that allows you to bring your feet about hip distance apart, soles of the feet planted, knees up to the ceiling. This time, take your hands, bring the backs of your hands towards your hips. Your elbows will be pointing forward. For some of us, this is already enough of a rotation for the rotator cuff to feel like you're getting your stretch. So you're going to use your muscles to encourage your elbows in towards one another and take a few breaths here. If this isn't the range of motion that's giving you the sensation that you desire today, then I invite you to bring your elbows to the inside of your knees and start to use your knees to encourage the elbows towards one another very gently and very mindfully. Lift tall through the back body. Take a few breaths. Notice what your body is feeling. Try not to press, try not to force anything to happen. Just let the body take the stretch little by little. Yoga is accomplished in centimeters, right? So it's not one of those things where we're making huge major leaps in our mind and body all at once. Things happen very gradually. One more full breath. And then to come out of this, if you've tucked the arms in, you can start to walk the legs away to release the elbows. And just take a few shoulder circles here. Now we're going to come back into that same tricep stretch that we did. And just notice if you feel any more openness throughout the back body and the shoulders now that we've worked in that space some more. Elbows come down to your blocks. Squeeze your palms together. Start to walk your knees away from the body. Lower your chest down between your arms towards the mat. If you have that back bend, minimize it by pulling your navel away from the floor, drawing your rib cage together. Even lift your pelvic floor. Press the hands together. Notice if there are any slight changes in the body and how you feel here. Take a few breaths. Good. Use your next exhalation to start to walk your hands in towards one another. Tuck the toes under, release the elbows, and shake it out. Good. So this is just a couple of things that you can do throughout the day to help you kind of bring a little bit of more mobility to your spine, to your shoulders. And from here, I invite you to take a little mini Shavasana. So come lying down on your back, find a nice neutral position for your spine. Extend the crown of the head away from your tailbone. Press the back of your head down into the mat. Now from here, I like to find constructive rest because I find that it's most soothing for most people in their low back. So you can let your knees touch as you walk your feet to the outer edges of your mat. Go ahead and flip your palms so the palms face up and the back of the hands are on the ground. And just bring some awareness into the shoulders and the back body. Imagine each breath traveling up and down the spine. Let the head, the shoulders, the hips, and the feet feel very relaxed, very much supported by the ground. I invite you to take at least about 10 to 15 breaths here to end our miniature practice. Thank you for joining me.